What's up, guys? I released the last What's Really Hood very late. I did it like this morning or something. I screwed up. I ain't feeling good, man, so I'm not on my normal stuff here. But today, I don't remember who asked the question. It was somebody. With my normal fashion, I didn't put who did it. But somebody asked me, they put it in the comments one time. It was a really good subject. I think it was J-Chip. Don't quote me on that. But he had asked me, what games do I think are, what's an example, what do I think about, like, games that are challenging for the wrong reasons? Because I say that a lot, which is very fair. I say, man, this game's challenging for all the wrong reasons. And that's a big problem. So, difficulty should be fair. You understand why you're losing, you just need to get better at it. I can even look at something as like Madden. I can go, man, I can't score like I used to on All Pro. The same plays aren't working. That's all valid reasons. It's annoying, but it's valid reasons. Like, okay, I just got to find other plays. I got to figure out, what do I have to do? Do I have to run the ball more? What do I have to do? You know, do I have to learn to juke better? Do I have to, getting extra yards that way? Do I have to QB sneak more? What do I have to do, right? And so you start building upon that. Then you start finding plays that work. And you're like, okay, I'm going to use that play for these certain situations and stuff like that. And then same as I just said, you learn to juke. You learn to do things. Those are fair difficulties, And I can go deeper into it with defense, too. Playing defense on All Pro versus Pro. You got to do things differently. You might have to control somebody different. Things like that. Call different plays. Understand things more. Games that are bad for the wrong reasons are things like, are hard for the wrong reasons, are like kind of what I'm dealing with Batman Forever when I was playing it. A good example of that is I'm doing the moves on my controller, but it's not working. It's not working, dude. It's not working. It's like Mortal Kombat and stuff, but it's not working, dude. It's not working. You can get your moves to work once in a while, and you're really handicapped if you can't use those moves because the game's kind of designed to use those moves. So that's a big problem. So now the difficulty is becoming harder, and it's harder to beat up all these guys and get through these levels because I can't use my fucking moves. It's very few and far between. And if I'm trying to use them and it's not working, I'm getting my ass kicked while I'm trying to do it. So a lot of times it's easier to say, fuck the moves, just fight. But then it's really a lot harder when you don't have those moves. So again, it's harder for the wrong reasons. I'm not being able to use my stuff. You know what I mean? Going back to something like Madden, it'd be like if I can't run the ball. Like if running the ball doesn't work and I have to pass every time, like why is that? Why can't I run too? That's part of my weapons. That's part of my arsenal. That'd be bad game design if it was like broken or something, So, those are types of examples. I think of Holy Diver. Holy Diver was a difficult game, yes. In the grand scheme of things, in the actual things, was it a hard game? Yes. But the main challenge was the controls. The controls were a big problem. And what it was is what I call one input system, where like you could only jump and shoot one thing at a time and walk a direction one thing at a time. You have to do all that one thing at a time. You can't really do both at the same time. That's the problem. On Castlevania, you can jump, throw your whip out, walk a different direction all at the same time. You know what I mean? When you're going to walk off the platform, you can walk, jump, and then swing up in the air all in pretty much one go if you need to in a tight situation. It's got good controls. Holy Diver was supposed to, I think, control like Castlevania. It did not. So what you'd find yourself doing sometimes is when you're trying to get ready to walk over a pit, or jump over a pit, I should say. You're going to run, jump, and then shoot or something over a pit. What he would do is he would just walk down the pit and fall down, and you'd be done. You know? Or you wanted to jump and shoot something, and you wouldn't shoot, so you'd take a hit. You know, things like that. It was very difficult because of that. It was already going to be a tough game, but because of that, it made it so much harder. And it's like, it was hard for the wrong reasons, and so I kind of deemed it like a bad game. You know, it's just bad. It's not fun because of what you got to freaking go through. And yeah, could you dissect the game? Can you get past that stuff? Sure, I've known Death Ran games with like terrible controls and stuff like that, because you can dissect it and really figure out, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and you can get past it. You can know Death Run, you can speed run, you can do whatever, any game. But what I'm saying is that first time playing, it should still be fun, and it should still bring you back and want you to be sitting there wanting to be challenged. I think of something like Battletoads. That's just a memorization game, and then you have to execute. And you can execute. It's pretty good controls. You can do everything you're trying to do. There's nothing that you're trying to not do. I would think the hardest thing in Battletoads is that sometimes when you don't want to dash and you do, you know? But that's nothing you can't get. Like, it's not really a bad control, though. It doesn't affect you that much. You can do it whenever you want, and there's a need for it a lot. Dashing is very, very good in that game, you know, especially the attack. So most of that game, 95% of that game is memorization. And then once you know the levels, once you've gotten through them and you know all the traps and what's going to happen, what's one-hit kills, then it's just a matter of remembering that and going through it and executing it. And then that's a whole other animal too, executing it. But it doesn't feel unfair though. It's not unfair. You know what I mean? It's you can definitely beat it. So it's that kind of stuff. I guess I would think of Dragon's Lair on the NES too as pretty brutal, just because the controls were so. I get what they were going for. I think they were trying to make it like the arcade game. And the arcade game is nothing but trial and error. The arcade game is a wonderful game. Great stuff. But the NES game was so particular with how you had to do it, and it felt unfair at times. You know, it's like hits you had to take. And just having to do things so good, and the controls were so like floaty and shitty, and it's like, oh my god, you fuck up and it's a wrap, dude. Like, there's no recovering, dude. It's just, you're gonna fall to your death, or you're gonna die, or whatever. Yeah, you're fucked. You have to know every bit of that. And I know that was part of the challenge, I think, is where the developers were coming from, but it just didn't deliver well. It was, again, a game that was a lot harder than it should be, and for all the wrong reasons. You know, and it kind of deemed it like kind of a bad game, you know? So it's that. I'm trying to think of more examples, but if you can give me examples below of games that I'm talking about that maybe you're thinking of, games that just seemed a little unfair, like either you couldn't even do your moves because it was just kind of broken, or games where it literally is made that way and it's just bad. It's just bad. Like Holy Diver, it's just bad. That's the way it is. It's not even a matter of getting used to it. It's just that way, you know? And it's definitely not fun, you know? It's not fun to try to get that going. But yeah, that'd be my best example of talking about when I think things are hard for the wrong reasons. And those are some games I was thinking of. So I'm trying to think of some other games that I beat that are just really tough, but usually when there's a will, there's a way. Most of the time, even me, I can get pretty pissed off. But most of the time, when I look at it in hindsight, it was usually me. It was usually me. And it was usually just learning the game more and understanding it. It wasn't truly broken. But there's been some stuff in Madden, though, too, where they'll make you drop a pass or something, and you're going, oh, come on, dude. Somebody's wide open. I mean, the other day I about dropped my controller, and I was done. I mean, I was down, or the game was tied. It was near the end of the game. I did this one route where my running back goes out. He was wide open, dude. Nobody within 10 yards of the dude. I mean, he catches it, he gains 40, 50 yards, if not a TD. And just drops it. You know what I mean? And it was just like, oh, stop. Stop. Because you think computer ever does that? Hell no. Computer always catches that motherfucker, bro. So it's just frustrating. Stuff like that. It's like, oh, come on. You're making this harder just cause. You know what I mean? Just to be a dick, you know? You're screwing me right now, you know? So, I know there's lots of examples out there. If I went out there and I went to my playthroughs, I could find a lot. I know there is. But, you know, you guys can add them down below. But it's games that shit's broke, man. You know, it's not working. It's not doing what you want it to do. You know, it's frustrating. Or barely works. Like Batman Forever barely works, dude. Like, I cannot get the shit to work. I even thought about on Batman Forever trying the Genesis version to see if it lets me do my moves better, man. Like, shit's fucked, you know? I even looked up the manual, knew all the moves. No, I ain't working, dude. You know what I mean? If I got out Mortal Kombat, I could do all the moves, but can't do it on Batman Forever, dude. It's like it's the same engine. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's not me. You know what I mean? And so it's crucial, man. It's crucial when you're playing that game. It makes it a lot harder. So, to be fair, that's something that kind of steered me away. You know, I was overly frustrated and like trying to do my moves. You know, so it made you not really want to play the game. You know, because it's like, well, I mean, it's like broken. You know what I mean? What about every time in Contra, every time you get spread, it doesn't work? You know what I mean? You'd be like, what the fuck, man? You can still beat the game, but there's a major item you're not allowed to use. Or maybe it just shoots sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, kind of frustrating. You know what I mean? It's going to make you kind of hate the game, right? So, to be honest with you guys, with Batman Forever, that was the only real problem. Other than that, the game wasn't really that bad. You know, I was actually having a good time with it. But at them not doing my moves, that's frustrating because I see, in my opinion, I need it. I need those moves, man. They play key roles, I think. You know, that's why there's a lot of different ones and everything. You need to kind of like, you learn the levels and then you go, okay, I'm going to take that weapon with me. And that's probably kind of how you get good at the game, you know? So it's just, when you don't have that, it's hard. Sometimes the computer just fucks you up, man. Especially the bosses. Seem like when you fought Two-Face and stuff, you definitely have to have some shit, man. You know? We fought Riddler and everything. Like, they're really cheap, dude. So you got to have some moves that there's probably something that you're supposed to do. You know? So it's just a frustrating stuff where things are hard for the wrong fucking reasons. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. Give me some examples of some games. Tell me within that game, like, what happens. You know, why do you feel that way about it? But anyway, guys, I'll talk to you. God bless.